development. And I'm joined by my colleagues, Michael, Mark, David, and some other folks that are in the room also or online. And throughout the room, we have folks from nearly 20 organizations from the spreadsheet that I saw. So that's really exciting, ranging from engineering firms to DOTs to educational institutions around the world. And it's great to see other software partners as well and vendors also. So to kick off today, I'll share a little bit about Esri, our role in industries like AEC and transportation, ways that we're engaged with buildingSMART to advance open BIM technology, and the value we see in supporting open standards like IFC. So I'd like to give you a really simple example of what you can accomplish today with today's technology before diving into some of those other things. So this is the city of Zurich city center and its rail network streamed over the web using I3S index 3D scene layers. This is a typical example of a connected data environment, including many IFC files for maintaining and operating multiple modes of transportation. This connected environment benefits many, many stakeholders that use it, containing pedestrian and roadway bridges, as well as road and railway tunnels and railway tracks that are used throughout the city. So over the next few minutes, I'd like to set the stage for how Esri fits into this role and the importance of open BIM, and share some concepts from our perspective on what we see there. So Esri develops ArcGIS, which is a comprehensive geospatial platform for creating and connecting systems and solutions. It conforms to open standards across SaaS, PaaS, and software installed on-premise or in the cloud from organizations. We have foundational products that deliver capabilities like visualization and mapping, 3D, imagery, analytics, authoritative data management, and much more. We continue to ensure that ArcGIS is open and interoperable through implementation work from our development teams on the software side, and participating in many open standards initiatives like OpenBIM. And it's because of this commitment to open systems that allows many industries to be successful in building and securing integrated systems. And we all know how complex and complicated these systems can become with the many integration points and the many software packages, frankly, that take part in these systems. I saw some amazing ones yesterday. And just last week, if you haven't heard, it was announced at SIGGRAPH that Esri joined AOUSD. This is the Alliance for Open USD, along with 6 other new members. And really our focus there is spatially enabling USD. So USD, Universal Scene Description, was originally developed by Pixar. You know, it's a format that describes 3D objects and 3D scenes meant for collaboration. But it didn't have spatial awareness, and it still doesn't have spatial awareness. So we are really interested in spatially enabling it, teaching it about coordinate reference systems. So when USD, is a container and is shared with collaboration among software clients, data that's sitting in USD actually lands in the geographic correct location. That's pretty difficult to do right now. So this is just another example of Esri's commitment to supporting open standards. And while ArcGIS is designed as a horizontal platform with many, over 2,000 generic tools, it supports business and is critical, and many critical systems are built on top of it through configuration and through the extensibility points like the APIs across all of ArcGIS. ArcGIS is used to build integrated systems supporting a huge catalog of workflows in environmental management and government, urban planning, utilities, transportation, and of course, AEC and many more. And it's able to transform organizations and transform how groups can work together within organizations, allowing really the creation of a system of systems is how we think about it, if it's architected correctly. And if it's integrated with other systems in the organizations in the right way, in a well-architected format, and we've got a lot of collateral and a lot of information to help people do that. There happens to be another building just like this building behind us. It's building O, and that's where our professional services organization exists. So there's about 1,000 people in that organization, and oftentimes they're called upon to collaborate with or build custom systems. So they really understand, how integration is critical and how open formats are becoming more and more and more critical, and the complexity of these systems. I worked in that division for 15 years. So I spent the first 15 years of my career flying around the world building GIS-based software systems that you couldn't buy, you had to build. And it remains a really challenging and fascinating opportunity for not just the customer to have these systems built, but also understand what technology we had to build in a custom sense so that we can pull that into core software development so the entire world can benefit from it. Integrating content like a BIM model with context from GIS benefits stakeholders in many industries. For example, allowing GIS users to directly access CAD and BIM files for analysis, visualization, and sharing. That's the GIS pulling CAD into it viewpoint. And there's also the CAD leveraging GIS. I'm creating this building. I want to see the parcels. I want to see the roadways. I want to see the electrical utilities. I want to see the water infrastructure. I want to see if I'm on an earthquake fault. I want to see if I'm in a flood zone, so on and so on and so forth. And I want to see all of it together. So along with our partners in the space, we're bringing on-demand spatial data to a broader set of users across all of these systems. This includes project coordinators, engineers, architects, accessing spatial data from their preferred or familiar software tools. There's a lot of software tools out there, amazing software tools. Esri just creates a few of them. The most important thing is that this group of people working on innovative advancements in IFC make sure that those software products can interoperate with one another, and there's magic in that. And we maintain our commitment to supporting open standards like IFC across a broad landscape of integration opportunities, both from a core software development perspective, but also from our professional services and our partner network perspective. Very, very, very important to us. So since joining buildingSMART International as a multinational member in May of 2020, we've really ramped up activity in helping shape open BIM exchanges. We're very excited about that. We have product team members, some of them are in the room here, that are members of the Implementers Forum, participating in initiatives like defining validation service rules. And also we have folks on steering committees, Mark for infrastructure and OGC plus BSI working group. So we're really excited to actually have people rolling up their sleeves, getting into the real technical meat of what this meeting is for the next 2 days, not talking at the level that I'm talking, to really make advancement for all of our collective customers globally. Super important. And so let me spend a few minutes outlining some of the concepts that from our vantage point kind of bring this all together. And when we take a geographic approach to connecting BIM and GIS, information from BIM processes can also be represented as spatial information, federated together with other project information for a cohesive common operational picture, if you will, for visualization, analysis, project insights, issue management, reporting, and this can be shared across multiple systems. That's what we're trying to get at here. And this approach is amenable to connections from common data environments. It's a nice way to say siloed data, a disk drive full of files, and works great in that environment. whether it's on-prem or even sitting in the cloud, but it's still kind of locked in native formats. Those storage of design and engineering files, increasingly, they need to be shared. And just because you stick them in the cloud doesn't mean they're shared. It just means that people can go copy them from the cloud as opposed to copying from somewhere else. So our goal is really to get the information stored in these environments, get it into formats like IFC within those common data environments, and then be able to share that through models which are federated. Okay, for example, information stored in IFC formats within those CDEs, it really fuels this federation, because to make better decisions, you have to have the sum total of all the data that you're looking for to make better decisions for your project, for your organization, for your customers, based on this data. This allows many built components from many types of facilities to be enhanced with location and combined with still more types of project information. Now, representing broad collections of project data in context as spatial information, that thing up at the top, allows for the creation of 2D and immersive 3D scenes, and scenes that even include 4D information like temporal information, change detection, data over time. And this can be shared as a GIS-based CDE. So this makes the combined project information available to all project stakeholders, including those working with specialized tools and those that just want a simple web interface of all my projects and what's going on in all those projects, without zooming into, the doorknob on a building in a new construction site. That context, that spatial context, large scale and small scale, are equally important to different roles of folks in organizations that leverage this technology to do real work. But the key is this: those common data environments, when you actually link those things, that connection, that results in connected data environments. That's the key. And open formats and sharing information in those connected data environments is really, that's the prize. Interconnecting the federated spatial information to the source engineering and design data seamlessly through services, not continuing to do the ETL thing with these data types. That is important. We've done it forever in this industry, but although we continue to support it, we need to broaden that frontier. And this opens up avenues for supporting countless workflows and use cases in AEC, transportation, and virtually any industry regarding the stuff, without getting bogged down in keeping the GIS up to date with facilities data, having to do change management and design. So that connected real environment is where we need to go. So earlier, I briefly showed an example of how these integrations are possible across design software, engineering software, and GIS software in this environment, which was a simple environment, including support for open exchanges with IFC and OGC standards like I3S. The key is this technology is available right now. So a lot of people think it's in the future, or I can't use it, or it's too difficult. We hear this from our customers all the time. I can't plan for that. I don't have the budget for that. I just want to do the same thing I did on the last project. Because this technology is available right now, allowing project teams in engineering, GIS, and project coordinators to make use of the same project information from their favorite software tools. This is the underpinning by these connections to common data environments, such as those tailored to design and engineering data sets. That's where we need to go with this. So what I'm showing here are several hundred transportation structures that, as an example, a GIS analyst could federate together by linking to design and engineering common data environments. This is actually logging into the Autodesk Construction Cloud to get this data. So engineers can work in their preferred software of choice and make changes to these transportation assets, like the railroad tracks. They can save these changes directly in the native format, and they can export them to IFC for sharing and update in other systems. And the corresponding spatial representations can be reflected in federated environment, which is current. So you can reach out from this piece of software into one of these cloud-based repositories and just hit update, and it actually just pulls the latest data. So it's still manual, and it can be automated. And when you think about, how fast AI is moving and how we will be leveraging agentic AI, it's really going to be an agent in this piece of software talking to an agent sitting in that cloud repository that's actually going to find the asset, put it into IFC, for instance, and then move it across the wire real time. We're not having the ETL massive native format files. That's how fast things are going to be moving. That's how fast our customers want us to be moving, and that's really critical justification for things like service-based IFC5. And that's what's really exciting about this meeting and the innovation that all of you, I have confidence in all of you, over the next few days are going to do some amazing things. So this is a different environment. This is a web app that maybe a project manager wants to take advantage in federated projects through a web app or through mobile applications. All those rectangles, those are all my projects. And project and asset managers can on railway, roadway, bridge information, virtually anything coming from IFC and other data sources streamed in using I3S. They have a map index of all the facilities making up the transportation network, and on demand can view and interact with the source design models for facilities like this pedestrian bridge as lightweight structures, shells, or in native full fidelity. So moving from an isolated common data environment to smarter connected data environments, leveraging standards such as IFC in the architecture of such systems has enormous benefits for everyone. And again, this technology exists today, and it's only going to get better. So this is what our development teams are striving for. We're working with customers on live projects with this, testing and leveraging and helping drive where the industry is going to go. So, whether you're here today as a partner, as a vendor, from an engineering firm, from a DOT, or from an educational institution, you're all members of trying to make this better across many, many industries. We're delighted and motivated to partner and collaborate with you over the next 2 days and advance these open exchanges to deepen our connections in so many technologies, which frankly, are available right now if people, really want to use them. And of course, are under development for the future. So I'm excited to see what comes out of the implementers assembly over the next few days and the next big advancements for IFC file exchanges and shaping longer term directions for IFC5 and its services-based architecture. So again, welcome. Thank you for making the long journey to Redlands and to our home. Oh, it died. With that, I'll get out of the way and let the real work begin. So thanks again.
Yeah, I see you have a question. Yeah.
I always have.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I was thinking if it's the time to ask what I'm
Go ahead.
about.
Sure.
Okay. For me, it's clear that IFC5 is in a large step to implement even source software architecture. And I saw on the presentation a lot of data source. So and a huge amount of data. And my question is, are that still already using event sourcing, or it's not on the radar to implement it?
Event sourcing?
Yeah, or data streaming.
Yes. So I mentioned a few times I3S. So I3S is a format that Esri's, it's an open format, and it's that event sourcing, finding that data easily and quickly, and then being able to stream it is also a critical part of this architecture. Actually, one of the biggest complaints that we get from customers is that I can't find the data I want to work with. So we have a pretty big, probably the world's largest GIS data repository in ArcGIS Online and the Living Atlas. And there's so much data in there, millions of data sets that people really need help finding what is the goodness. And these techniques are being used there, along with indexing, but also we're really fiddling around a lot with AI. And how can semantic search really help here? Working with embedding models, building those vector databases to index all this data in a smart way. So you can just have a conversation with that system and it finds really what's relevant to you, as opposed to you typing in SQL statements and other types of things. Under the covers, lowering that bar to accessibility of the data, leveraging AI and semantic search as one way to do this is something that we're investing in as well.
It means you are using FTP and Jekyll, or no? The FTP is what the name is. What the name? Relational database. Or you are using or planning to use FTP database?
Both. So Esri technology traditionally is relational database based.
Yeah.
Whether it's SQL Server, Oracle, DB2, file geodatabase, it's relational. But over the last four years, we've been working. We have offerings called ArcGIS Knowledge, and Knowledge is entity relation based, leveraging graph databases, Neo4j, other types of database. So it is both. The majority of our users are still relational database users, but there's a growing desire to really use graph databases and for these types of searches, and also for the size of these databases. Those graph databases are absolutely enormous and they're lightning fast. So both we're leveraging both.
Sure. I'm glad my research is in the right way to know that my research is the right.
Are you doing graph database research?
Yeah, I'm studying it and I'm developing some knowledge with that.
Oh, cool. You're good, man. You're good. There's a place for you.
Any other questions or confirmations needed? All right, thank you so much.
All right, cool. Thanks for the time.
Perfect. We're good. So who's here for the first time? First time implementer assembly? Ah, good. Fresh blood. So for those who are not here for the first time, they already know what's coming. This is the boring part. I'm sorry for that. First of all, again, thank you so much to Esri and for hosting this. I have this slide like 7 times in the presentations for the next 2 days, just to really show that we're very, very happy that you want to host this. I have to go through the boring stuff, so bear with me here. So first of all, implementer assembly. I'll explain a little bit later what it is, but I have to show this code of conduct. This really is the place where we're pulling in people from the back who want to have an easy morning. We really want your input here. So interrupt me at any moment you want for questions, comments, corrections, whatever. So feel free to do that. But note that this is the official buildingSMART code of conduct. So please do it respectfully, not to me because I'm used to being bullied, but to each other. And then most important, the safe harbor statement as well. So I want to be very clear. software vendors here that are publicly traded companies. We want these companies to speculate on the future, to explore, to do whatever they want. So if any of you also listening in or to the recording decides to buy stock based on speculations in this room, it's on you. So the speculations here are really just speculations. This is a legal safe harbor statement. This goes for everyone in the room. This goes for all of the sessions. So we really want this to be a free space for everyone to explore and to speculate. So please keep that in mind. So WhatsApp group, is everyone in? Sorry, I removed a couple of people a year and a half ago that wanted back in. Apparently WhatsApp doesn't allow that, but I think everyone should be. Oh, still a lot of phones coming up. So if you have difficulties, let me know. This is where we discuss dress codes for dinner and all of that stuff. I'll be wearing shorts, by the way, so just so you know. And then also, for the record, we're recording some of these sessions. As you know, we really want this to be a safe harbor. We don't want people to hold back because it's being recorded and shared. So we're not recording all of the sessions. Some of them, so the whole morning sessions where we talk a lot and share information, that's being shared. The afternoon sessions and even the sessions tomorrow where you're going to present what you've done so far. We'll do custom whatever you want, if you want it recorded or not. But usually vendors that present data implementations don't want it recorded. So we respect that as well. So then what is this? Again, 81st meeting of software vendors coming together to really improve the developments. Started with just IFC, but now it's a lot wider. We do this every half year. It's usually 4 to 6 weeks before the summit. It's a completely different audience. We already see people that are coming here and not to the summit and the other way around. We try to do it opposite of the summit geographically. So 6 months ago, the summit was in Singapore. So we did Budapest as the implementer meeting. This time, summit is in Europe and Berlin. So we're trying to do West Coast US. Next time, summit is in Porto. So February, we have Bentley hosting the next meeting in Philadelphia. Do we have dates locked in on this? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, this was still to be confirmed, indeed, because this is the one time in my life where I prepared slides a week up front. But yeah, we'll share that in the WhatsApp group as well, just to motivate you to be in the WhatsApp group. So yeah, I already mentioned there's people complaining about the weather here, so you've got. Also, if you want to have the full overview, so all of the previous recordings, meeting minutes, slides, slideshows of presentations that were held, everything is archived on this website as well. Just quickly going over this again, just for the new blood that is in the room. This used to be the implementer support group for IFC when IFC was the only standard that buildingSMART had, but it kind of grew substantially. So we have IFC validation service now also up and running. The IFC certification team, IDS. We have multiple versions of IFC being in development at the same time. We have a translation system, BSD, obviously. We have API developments, BCF. So all of these are related to each other, some stronger, some lesser strong. And all of these are separate individual teams coming together every week, every 2 weeks, every month. They have their own pace, they have their own maturity, and we kind of force all of these people to come together and present to each other. So we have the famous example of restrictions in IDS needing to be the same kind of restrictions in BSD. I mean, these are so obvious that these teams are also coming together, but there's also less obvious ones, and therefore these meetings are extremely important. So there's a lot of overlapping topics, many interfaces between these, and that's why we always called it the General Assembly of Implementers. But then, I mean, general and just implementers is a bit weird as well. So again, renamed to Implementer Assembly now. So that was the kind of for the new people in the room, setting the context. Again, safe harbor statements. We really want this to be a safe harbor where you speculate, where you provide input. That's why we flew 11 hours to come here. So please give us your thoughts and input. Any questions so far? All right. Then, following traditions, we start with introductions at the corner where Evandro is sitting. You made the same mistake again. So let's go around the room, take your time. But please, for me, this is the most important. Why did you fly a lot of hours to come here? When is this meeting a success? How can we help you make this meeting successful?
Um, Working with group farming areas, but it's several years. Head of the Boston. Our I focus on this will be one morning up or that also located from working on this case of from only now in the past all 5 years. So and look in activity and also project activity we have like ESL. So on technical side for this paper carry 5 art and idea from you as well. So this is from technical side, the other side of common debate yeah. So this is my and it public hotel over England. And I think this is successful and I have been able to many already to partly successful. Yeah. So many are from Berlin so that the idea looks at our also. Also was third party yes, it's my first time being actually a lot of questions about yeah. Data scientist, software developer, only focuses the Redlands full data from various sources, and it's data from both that. That is only data. So, infrastructure, exciting, and do the rest.
Hi everyone, my name is here. I'm from Brazil. I used to work for the Brazilian greatest oil company and developed a CDE there with using event sourcing as I asked. And we was starting to implement semantic with FTP. But right now, we not more probably used to campaign by data here. So I came by myself, and my associate for me is learning a lot of things to in Brazil because I'm also a teacher, and maybe bring my technology here and look for a fit my research and the IFC.
So I'm Washington State Department of Transportation, so I'm a little bit of an odd duck in this group, but I wear many different hats. At the Department of Transportation, I've primarily done structural engineering software development for 25, 30 years, designing precast concrete bridges or infrastructure. Recently, kind of getting into interfacing now with IFC for exports. Now we're trying to collaborate with Texas DOT and California DOT on IFC imports. So we make that like that stuff work. I'm involved in call it the BIM for bridges and BIM for infrastructure's transportation pool fund projects, where many state DOTs are pulling their monies together to come up with how do we implement all this stuff in a sustainable, repeatable way, IDMs, IDSs, applying this. So involved in that. And I've done kind of on my side is learning exercises, implemented a whole bunch of the alignment part of IFC 4.3 in the IFC OpenShell Toolkit, open source project. So, and I keep the heck out of the validation service, like a bond all the time about stuff. So yeah, I'm a little different, but success here for me is when I learn more stuff, right? Because I bring it back and we try to find ways to C++. I thought, yeah.
So, I'm living in Paris. Yeah, I'm working with Sparks for the Bill and the Manual around topics. Answer. Because all I can show feedback is on your our really happy or to the result info.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Messner. I'm a professor at Penn State University. So I'm in there. I oversee a research group during the construction research program at Penn State. We're going to the standard discipline. So I also, another role that I play, previous chair of the standard for the United States. And so I'm here for, so I'll be successful if develop some different tips and whatever.
Hi everyone. Thank you for
What I do is, I'm Alex Guerra, also with Medic Systems. I'm based out of Texas,
and I'm probably the dumbest person in the room. Like Rick, I'm an engineer. Unlike Rick, I'm roadway, not a roadway guy, not a bridge guy. Not a really smart bridge guy who also knows C++ and all this other stuff. But part of what I do at Bentley is try to convey everything that I learned here from IFC and from you guys, try to convince our folks internally to think a certain way or to help us support IFC and formats. We made a lot of changes in the way that we support IFC. We have over 80 different products, and many of them all had individual support for IFC. So what we're trying to do is consolidate a lot of that, make things a lot cleaner, make things a lot more absorbable, and uniform across the board. But it's taking a little while. So success for me is to understand where everything's at, especially in terms of where IFC 5 is going. We weren't really involved so much with what we're working on. We're hoping to not make this mistake and trying to do the best. But of course, I am the
I'm Goldman with Esri. I lead the messaging market. What opportunity that is US. I'm here with the RS. I'm in charge of this important for all of my goal or here in uh, not just update update program I'm not yeah and
Hello, my name is Dan Holland. I'm out of this Austin. I primarily from direct type, but my goal is more so now kind of open but again, that's sorry. Uh, but also more generic. Uh, okay. Very, very similar. So, okay, open. No, but I think so. For me, what do I get out of it? Here, kind of practical. Coming up with that. I normally take and I'm also again original very lazy, and get that product use so is IC5.
How many of the 81 meetings did you attend?
I probably missed the first 20 or so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. Fair enough.
Everyone, Michael Davidson, Esri's product manager for cabin BIM integration. I do agree or consent to sharing my contact information. I'm based out of the Seattle area. That's when is this meeting a success for me? It's really, for me, I would say several items. So the directions we're headed in our product integration into the transportation aspects, the cloud-based IS courses, so alignment, for the data, any new insights from some of our resident definitely the validation to digital, getting it just more and more of a better handle on the velocity, those types of efforts. And then of course, maybe the velocity and the acceleration for IS5, getting out ahead of that, working with that.
The development director of Open Design Alliance, now leading the Redlands. We are providing a venture for interoperability of all formats at the time of the also normally I will say I have one. Also, my personal interest also like how much more and I would say our resources team of structure. Anyway, yeah. So and about successful today, like that they really all crucial points find always yeah sure that it's a base and we are ready to move forward with communication with ISO. Great. Yeah, and I also do agree with Shane. Hello, I'm Bokru. I'm from the Netherlands. I work at the Netherlands organization for outside. It's not my first. I'm not near the all. I want to bring dynamics of this to what and vision what the dynamics are. Being as a programmer, I'm not all of the right direction. And you need plus, or you have perfect. Why living in front of landscape all of so I construct
We see a huge circle from there from one side that is already it's huge about and
I'm Mike Powers. I'm also the Infotech principal architect and I want to get out of this. I love those larger tiles. I learned more about it.
Morning, I'm Will Sharp with HBR, we're a firm based in the US. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be part of the meeting with that. And I've already had success with this layout, just getting it set. I can tell you that the state DOTs and the US are investing heavily. All the days. And it's going to be everyone and a lot of progress.
Thank you. So, yeah, as the regulars know, I'm not going to ask all of you individually if you object or not. So if you don't want your contact info to be shared, let me know. I'll be sharing it this afternoon. So you have up until lunch to kind of pull me aside and whisper into my ears that you don't want to share. We have a couple of people that registered that are on the list. They've consented to sharing as well. Helga, for example, which most of you will know, she wasn't able to join. I still expect Yoshiyuki from OneStruction, also a regular. I don't know where he is, but he's maybe still preparing his presentation, hopefully. I'm kind of banking that you guys will present as well something today or tomorrow. Okay. No, it's decided now. I got a couple of inputs already from Juha, and I hope that ODA has something to show as well on their IFC5 implementations, throwing you for the bus here. I noticed Autodesk has something, so yeah, you know how this goes. It's pretty flexible. Only the lunch, dinner, and end of the meeting are fixed. For the rest, we're pretty flexible. So thanks for your input. I hear that networking, thanks, Will. See you in Pennsylvania, right? Next time.
Yep, and see you in Berlin.
So what I hear from the input is that networking, validation service, and IFC5 are the biggest topics. So we'll try to, if Andrew does validation service, we'll try to give him some more time to talk about that, and we'll stretch up the breaks as well. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, not me, Horace can introduce himself.
Yeah, you too. There's no hiding in the back here.
Oh man, David Alvarez, I work for Esri. I'm interested on just how IFC is going along. So when customers ask questions, we'll be able to answer. Over IFC5 and all that. Validation service.
Yeah, of course. Can we get Oris, or is he listening in?
I mean, but I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Oris Talishek. I'm a software developer with Esri. I'm located in Ottawa, Canada. our work with David on the RGS Pro development team that focuses on BIM and CAD data access and integration. So for these meetings, I'm hoping to get a better handle on the IFC strategy, how it affects our access to, say, infrastructure data, geometry, etc. Just get more details on where that's going and how we can participate.
Good to have you. Thanks. All right. So we have less than half an hour to go for the first break. I want to already tell you we're not going to meet that 10:30 exactly. Just to give you a quick overview of the agenda. No worries.
I should be sure now. There you go.
Quick overview of the agenda. You've had this. There are some slight tweaks, but not a lot. So up until lunch this morning, it's mainly us sending information and hopefully you not just listening, but providing feedback on that as well. Again, feel free to interrupt at any time. You know that we've really blocked a couple of specific, we really need discussions. So no PowerPoint slides for these things. We hope that a lot of people, I hope that Juha will be presenting a bit of the work that he's done on Export IFC5 so far here. Definitely here, present your results. I expect many presentations of you, but also next steps, feedback. Mainly the second day is a lot less PowerPoint and a lot more you. So make sure you have your caffeine intake synced on that. For today, we also do we usually start before lunch with a lot of just updates and information. So we'll do that. And you know the steering wheel, right? I'm trying to get different AI ways to make it clear to you that you are allowed to take the steering wheel here and point us in the right direction. And also there's like ample ability and possibility there in the agenda to do so. Comments, questions so far? All right. So then the rapid fire update about all of the different topics. I'll try to do this in 20 minutes, so we're on time for the break, but might be a little bit late. Again, interrupt me at any time on any slides. I will tell you when in the next 2 days I will answer your question. So starting with IFC 403, as you know, ISO approved by now, published on the buildingSMART website, officially also as ISO. There's a little bit of a confusion sometimes because we have two publications, the official one and the development one. They're exactly the same. The development one is just the one that has additional clarifications, additional examples, but there is no change in the standard for implementers. It's just like an ongoing trying to clarify difficult English words, trying to add different kinds of examples, but the standard is exactly the same. We're not changing anything on that. Software certification and verification, or however you want to call it, I'll leave that discussion to Evandro later on, is available. We're also even working on a new webpage about software certification to really make it clear that it is available and you can apply. The reason why not a lot of software developers are now online and publishing press releases that they are certified is because they're not implemented the full scope yet, and getting all of the green boxes for software certification is a lot harder for 4.3 than it was for 4. We're a lot more strict on that, but the setup and the framework is available. There are people that are in the process of trying to apply for this. Import certification is a lot easier, so we already have a couple of import 4.3 certified softwares out there. But exports, again, Evandro will dive deeper on that with the validation service part. It's just we've made it a lot more strict and a lot less easy to get this certification stamp. So just takes a bit longer for most vendors to reach it. On the MVDs, we have a reference view and alignment-based view online and published. And recently, I think last week, the proposal to start a revision of the alignment-based MVD is approved. I think we only had 3 votes on that, so we're going to set up a project to gather a next round of input on that as well. On ISO, so we've sent out a press release a while ago that we are working on 4 different tracks with ISO. I'm not sure if you've seen that. I can share the link, but just to again quickly go over that. There is a collaboration agreement between buildingSMART and ISO on how processes align and how we deal with different terminologies within buildingSMART and ISO and how those align. This is from 2021. And at the moment, we're working on updating and refreshing that. It's just a minor update to even further clarify things that were in there. I think we're aiming for the release of that before a big ISO meeting in October, or maybe it will be after that because they have to vote on it as well. But somewhere before the end of the year, there will be an update on this. And again, it basically says we want to collaborate, and it further clarifies what it means to be an A liaison ISO member, when we can start things, what a candidate standard from buildingSMART means in the terminology of ISO, how that matches with this, etc. So there was a small table on that before, and we have a very extensive process now just to make sure that it's more clarified. So this is this first pillar of the 4 on what we collaborate on with ISO. The third one is this update of IFC 4.3. I think this is also part of your presentation later on, right? In full update later today from Evandro. The working title of the update of 4.3 is 4.4. Biggest challenges here are a lot of open issues, a lot of known issues. We have a lot of input from tunnel projects. Biggest challenge here is to keep backwards compatibility with 4.3 in a way that is also further clarified by ISO this time. And most probable, but I think Evandro will cover this topic as well, is that this will be just, from an ISO perspective, will be a new part 1. If you don't know what that means, we'll clarify that later as well. Then the 4th pillar is IFC 5. IFC 5 is a big umbrella term. It has a lot of things. What we're working on now in IFC 5 is really this core data component. So we're not talking about APIs yet. We're not talking about domain extensions. We're not talking about procedural geometry yet, which is all part of IFC 5, but not of this core part. So on the core part, which will probably be part 11 of the ISO standard, again, I'll touch on that later as well. I think we're ready to start this. I will go into more details on that later. But this is really, again, this core part, everything you've seen so far. The courses that we've put out there all were on the core, how it could be extended, how it matches with other things. We have 1,600 participants. Who did the course from you guys? The new updated one.
The new one.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you did the previous one, there's not a lot of changes. And yeah, as you noted before, this modular approach and releases is aligned with ISO as well, and that brings us to this last part. We are discussing with ISO on how the modularity of IFC, which parts of the ISO standards are reserved for what kind of parts of IFC. Again, I will dive into that later on, but yeah, just to give you a quick insight. So if you look at an ISO standard, most of you know ISO 19650, right? It's very well known that it has how many by now? 12 parts or 8 parts. I think they're expanding constantly as well. Also, the STEP standard has a lot of different parts. You have part 21, which is the one that we're using for the file format. So what we want to use that same structure also for the modularization of IFC. So part 1 is the current 4.3. The updated part 1 will be 4.4. But to make sure that IFC 5 does not replace the current 4.3 and 4.4, we're going to call it part 11. Then you have a procedural geometry, which is maybe part 14. The API might be part 12. You have these different domain extensions, these domain semantics, where maybe we want to start with part 100 for that, 101 for buildings, 102 for maritime, maybe 100 for shared. So We have some ideas. I'll share more on that later. But in reality, the IFC standard will be this umbrella with multiple parts, where we probably have part 11, again, question mark, for the core, which is the main thing we've been working on so far. And then API might be part 12 or 13, and we have some core extensions for procedural geometry. For those of you who have been really working hands-on with this new IFCX JSON format, can understand that this also opens the door to integrate IDS and BCF into IFC as well, not having that separate technology stack anymore. And like I said, these domain semantics are also then different parts that can be maintained by the different buildingSMART domains as well. If you're taking picture of this, it's going to be even more complex, because there's also this, you take a selection of this where you, yeah, exactly, we see heads turning. There's industry best practices where you take different semantics from the different domains and say, if I want to do a bridge in Pennsylvania, in the US, I want to do it in this specific way. You kind of gather from all of these different parts, and then you create your UCM, your IDM, your best practice, however you want to call it. And you can also publish that again, maybe as an ISO part. I'm not sure if in practice that's really going to happen as an ISO publication, but again, inspired by STEP, this is an option. And then, of course, we have, this is the last slide, if you want to take a picture. And then, of course, we have even these non-IFC extensions, like how are you going to connect to external libraries like BSDD or others, but even how are you going to connect to CCI, eTIM, OmniClass, whatever. And this is also where the core of IFC is grabbing attention as well. I'm sorry for the graphics of this picture. I've been working on this forever. This is not a real representation of how it works technically. You know that, I know that, but apparently looking at the phones going up, it's still somewhat valuable. Yeah, it's believable, right? Yeah, it's a good word. All right. Well, I'll dive deeper into all of these things later on as well. I think this was just after lunch or before lunch, so hold your questions. IDS, no updates from 6 months ago. It's a final buildingSMART standard. There doesn't seem to be a real interest to push this to ISO, so there's no effort going on there. We're working on a minor 1.1 updates, which is fully backwards compatible. This just means that we're going to add this URI tag to applicability as well, and not just to get more symmetry in it. Minor things like that. Long term, again, long term I see BCF and IDS integrated in this IFCX setup, because that would be really beneficial to have one technology stack for all of these different use cases. Is anyone interested in IDS software certification? Anyone who's implemented IDS interested to get stamped by buildingSMART, press release?
The customers are interested in that.
Good answer. Let's get back to that later as well. I don't want to be the guy that
There will probably be a future yes to that question.
Sorry?
There will probably be a future yes to that question.
Yeah, we've been experimenting a little bit on this as well, just before the summer break. I have pictures of that in a later presentation. BCF, again, yeah, working on version 4, I guess. You want to say anything about this? Grinding on?
Yeah. The thing is that we have like an idea of what it could be, and the next thing is that we should send a questionnaire to possible implementers that is this something you actually want to do?
Yeah.
Because now there are not so many companies participating in the meeting, so
yeah, it's I think it's matured, right? So
yeah, there are things that we want to improve, but if nobody is willing to implement those, then
yeah,
it doesn't make sense. So we are sending that questionnaire. Yeah, for this year.
cool. Related to BCF, because it's kind of the similar working group, Documents API, Properties API kind of has the same status, right? It's mature, looking for improvements, but not very active at the moment. No official projects going on. BSD, the buildingSMART solution for data dictionaries, as I would like to call it. I think the official title is still buildingSMART Data Dictionary. We have continuous development. We have continuous growth in usage. I would say almost exponentially, right? Yusheng will share some stats about that later on. Really nice metrics. As a reminder, this is an API first tool. We also see that back in the metrics. And IFC5 does have an impact on BSDD. We're currently analyzing the roadmap. BSDD also has an impact on IFC5. Also, I think you'll have 1 or 2 slides on this as well, right? Later on. UCM, this is the same slide as last time. For the first time in years, I removed the date on the copyright, so I can actually keep on reusing these slides. There's quite some investments in UCM from a couple of chapters. But yeah, I think we've covered this before, that creating individual use cases is something that needs to be done by chapters, by projects. It's something that buildingSMART International facilitates, but not actively has resources to do so. Validation service, we'll have a massive update on that later on from Ivandro. Again, continuous improvement. There's quite some improved performance, I would say. On larger files, it works quite a lot faster. And this validation service, as you know, is the basis for software certification and the scorecards. Going on that topic, software certification, again, we have this new generic global software certification that uses the metrics from the validation service to generate scorecards. You've all seen them by now with these functional parts. Also, the import certification is now available. We also have some ideas to improve import certification in the future. Yusheng will talk about that as well later on. Scorecards are not publicly available yet, so we have certification.buildingsmart.org or certification, right? Certification.buildingsmart.org, still behind a login. We don't feel confident yet to publish scorecards from publicly traded software companies. We really need to make sure that we nail that down, the procedure, and make sure that they're valid. But they are available on request. We get a lot of requests from software vendors, like what's the status of my scorecard? Where do I need to improve? What are the issues? We're very happy to facilitate that. So if you didn't see your scorecard yet, please reach out to me or Ivandro on that as well. And lots of educational communication to be expected. Webinars, blog posts, mainly explaining why the term certification is really a bad term for what we're doing here. Slowly trying to educate and migrate towards a different kind of term. I showed you earlier that we're having a new webpage to explain software certification on how it works. At the moment, there's a quote that it's up and running, but you can do better than that, right? So if you feel comfortable by making a quote why software certification was really beneficial for your company, or it really helped you improve or whatever, please reach out to me or to Andre, which most of you probably don't know. He's a really cool guy. Because I want my face gone on this page. It needs to be one of you here that explains why software certification is beneficial for your organization. All right, then translations. 5 minutes to go. I think we're right on time. Also, nothing changed here. We have translations.buildingsmart.org, which is like a community crowd-funded, crowd-sourced thing where anyone can take an English official term from IFC and use it to suggest a translation. And then one of the chapter leaders or chapter translation teams, or however chapters have organized that, can approve that with a proofreading, and then it's being approved. This tool also publishes all of the files as PO files on GitHub. PO is the official translations format. Open source is open standard as well. It's connected to our documentation system, published in BSD, and also available through API. So if you want to connect your software tool I think I always use the example of Solibri. You have these P sets and properties. They always show the English terms. If you want to show that in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, I mentioned that because that's one of the most richest translated languages we have in the system. And you can pull that with the files or with the APIs or whatever. We have an example of that actually online live now. I'll share the links later on in the WhatsApp group because can I share them here as well? I'll share them later on. I have some kind of issue with the certificate on this Wi-Fi that I can't show it live, but it has. If I share the links, you'll see here you can select a different language and then the terminology. So in this case, the name of a wall is being translated, and also the first part of the semantic description. So this is, I know I've been saying this for 3 times now in these meetings. Expect this to become live. It is live now in staging before we push it. So again, integrated in the documentation, but also available as API and PO files to integrate in your software if you're interested. Then there's the idea to have a new technical roadmap. The previous one was published 5 years ago and had a lifespan of 5 years. At the moment, there's no timeline available on this because most of the energy and resources are going into IFC5 and software certification validation service. So I think what we've learned now from IFC5 and the ideas that we have to integrate IDS and BCF, new role for BSDD, there's quite a couple of things that are going to change with the IFC5 direction that we have now. I think it's very valuable to just write that down and point people in the direction and say, this is how we see these kind of integrations for the next 5 years if we progress with all of these different modules of IFC. So this is a bit of a mix between writing it down as guidance for the actual work, but what I prefer more is doing the actual work so we know that it works and then writing it down because we have more actual guidance. It's more realistic.
We can see the roadmap after we arrived.
That's easier, right? Yeah, in hindsight, everything is easier. Yeah. So yeah, this was approved in one of the, I think, international council meetings that we got approval to start developing this new roadmap as well. But like I said, it really makes sense to experiment just a couple months more before we start writing things down that turn out to not be true. All right. Any questions so far? Did I miss any topics that you were interested in? Okay. Then I would say we are right on time for our first break. So after the break, I think we have half an hour, right? 10:30 to 11, yeah. Then we do a lot of sending information to you again. Yusheng will start with this user-driven import certification. I will give, let's do, we'll do this first. You are mainly interested in validation service, right? I mean, doing this after the lunch dip. Maybe let's switch this around. Let's start with the validation implementer. Do Yusheng first, user-driven import, because that's probably not so long, right? Yeah. And then this, see how far we get. Okay. Cool. Any questions up to here? Any comments, concerns, corrections? To that. You may come from the gun road, so it would be nice to have someone else correcting me this time. Yeah. Perfect. All right, so let's have a half an hour coffee break then.